I paid the mortgage and all the bills. Then Mom said, "Give up your room. They're guests." I said, "Then let them start paying like I did." She rolled her eyes. A week later, I packed up. The day after I left, she called me crying. "They trashed the house." I said, "Not my problem. I never wanted to be the guy who walked away from my family. I used to believe in loyalty, in duty. You take care of your own, no matter what. That's how I was raised, and that's how I lived my life. But sometimes, the people you sacrifice everything for turn out to be the ones who will drain you dry and still expect more." For years, I paid the mortgage on the house my mom lived in. I covered the bills, the groceries, even repairs when things broke down. I did it because I believed it was the right thing to do. My mom had been through a lot. My dad walked out on us when I was 15, and she wasn't the kind of woman who handled things well. She was fragile, prone to crying when things got tough, and when dad left, she fell apart. That left me to pick up the slack. My little sister, Tessa, was only 8 at the time. She didn't understand what was happening, just that dad wasn't coming back. I was the one who made sure she had school supplies, that there was food on the table, that the lights stayed on. Mom had a part-time job at a boutique, but it barely covered her personal expenses. So I stepped up. When I turned 18, college wasn't even a thought. There was no way we could afford it. And even if we could, who was going to take care of things if I left? Instead, I got a job in construction. Hard work, long hours, but it paid well enough. By the time I was 25, I was the one holding everything together. I wasn't just helping out. I was the reason we had a roof over our heads. The house was in my mom's name, but I was the one who made the mortgage payments. I was the one keeping the place running. I never complained. Not once. Then she invited them in. It started with her old friend, Denise. I came home one evening after a 12-hour shift, covered in dust and sweat, just wanting to shower and eat, and there she was, sitting at the kitchen table like she'd always lived there, drinking one of my beers. "Oh, Warren, right?" she said, like she didn't know exactly who I was. I glanced at my mom, who was standing by the stove, stirring a pot of something. "What's going on?" I asked. "Oh, Denise is just staying with us for a little while," Mom said, like it was nothing. "She's going through a rough patch." I looked back at Denise, who was wearing pajamas, Mom's pajamas, and realized she wasn't just visiting. She'd moved in. "How long is a little while?" I asked. Mom waved a hand, dismissing me. "Just until she gets back on her feet." That phrase. That damn phrase. I should have put my foot down right then and there, but I didn't. Because I knew Denise. She and Mom had been friends forever, and I figured, fine. A couple of weeks. Whatever. But then Denise's son showed up. Chase was 22 and about as useless as they come. He was built like a damn linebacker, perfectly capable of working, but apparently, he had bad knees. Couldn't stand for long periods, couldn't lift anything heavy, couldn't do this, couldn't do that. But he sure as HLL could sit in the garage all day smoking weed and playing video games. I confronted Mom about it. "Why is Chase here?" I asked, crossing my arms. She gave me a tired look, like I was the problem. "Where else is he supposed to go?" I stared at her. "I don't know. How about a job?" Mom sighed dramatically. "Warren, not everyone is as lucky as you. Chase just needs time." "Lucky." She called me lucky. I swallowed my anger. "How long is he staying?" She wouldn't give me an answer. Just said, "We'll figure it out." Then came Kyle. I don't even know where she found him. He just showed up one day, dropped a duffel bag in the hallway, and made himself at home. Kyle was in his 50s, wore flip-flops in the dead of winter, and had an opinion on everything. According to him, working for the system was a scam, rent was a scam, paying bills was a scam. Which was really convenient, considering I was the one covering everything. And suddenly, my home wasn't my home anymore. I'd come home from work and find Denise stretched out on the couch, watching soap operas. I'd open the fridge and see that all the food I'd bought was gone. I'd go to take a shower and find the hot water used up. And when I finally went to my bedroom to escape the madness, I found Denise in my bed. She was eating chips. "Your room has the best Wi-Fi," she said, like that justified anything. I felt my eyes twitch. "Get out." She rolled her eyes but got up, crumbs falling everywhere. I was done. I went straight to Mom. "This isn't working," I said, my voice tight with anger. "You need to tell them to leave." She looked at me like I was overreacting. "Warren, don't be selfish." "Selfish?" I repeated, stunned. "I have been paying for this house since I was 18. I pay the mortgage, the bills, everything. And you're letting these people take over like it's a damn hostel." She sighed, as if she was exhausted from me causing problems. "They're guests," she said. "And honestly, Warren, you're barely here anyway. You work so much, you don't even use your room that much." I actually felt lightheaded. Are you seriously telling me to give up my own room?" "Well, they have nowhere else to go," she said, as if that was my problem. I stared at her, realization sinking in. She wasn't going to change. Fine. If she wanted to let freeloaders take over the house, she could pay for it. A week later, I packed my things. Mom barely looked up from her phone when I told her. "You're overreacting." I laughed. actually laughed. You let me know how that works out. I left. And the next day, she called me sobbing. They trashed the house, she cried. Warren, please, you have to come help me. I leaned back in my new apartment, sipping a beer, feeling lighter than I had in years. I let her cry. Then I said, not my problem. I could hear my mom breathing heavily on the other end of the phone, her voice choked with panic. She was waiting for me to say something, to swoop in and fix things like I always had. Warren, please, she sniffled. You don't understand. The house is destroyed. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. A part of me had expected this. HLL. I'd known this was coming the second I walked out. Still, I asked, what happened? Mom let out a shaky sigh. They had people over. I don't even know how many. I came home from work, and the whole place was wrecked. I leaned forward, gripping my phone tighter. Define wrecked. Her breath hitched. There are holes in the walls. The living room smells like, she hesitated. Like piss, Warren. Someone pissed on the damn couch. I pinched the bridge of my nose. What about the kitchen? The sink, her voice cracked. The faucet was left on. I think someone clogged it because the water overflowed and leaked into the basement. The whole floor is warped now. I let out a low whistle. The TV is smashed, she continued, her words tumbling over each other. Denise is gone, took half my stuff with her. Chase is nowhere to be found. And Kyle, her voice turned sharp. That bastard stole my car. I raised an eyebrow. Kyle stole your car? Yes. I left the keys on the counter before I went to work, and now it's gone. He won't answer his phone. And I don't know what to do, Warren. I have nothing. For the first time in years, she actually sounded helpless. Not in the usual guilt trip kind of way, but in a raw, terrified kind of way. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel responsible for fixing it. Mom, I said slowly, I warned you. I told you this would happen. Her breath hitched. But I didn't think. No, you didn't think, I snapped. You let these people use you. You let them take over the house, and now look at what happened. You picked them over me, and this is what you got in return. She went silent. I could hear her breathing, shaky and uneven. I could picture her standing in the middle of the wreckage, clutching her phone with one hand and staring at the disaster around her. You're not going to help me? She finally whispered. I exhaled, rubbing my temple. What exactly do you expect me to do, Mom? She sniffled again. I don't know. I don't have the money to fix all this, Warren. I don't even have enough to cover the mortgage this month. I thought Denise was going to help out, but she just left. I shook my head. Denise was never going to help out. None of them were. Silence. I let the weight of my words sink in before I added. And now, you get to deal with it. She let out a broken sound, somewhere between a sob and a gasp. So that's it. You made your choice, I said. Now you live with it. I hung up. The silence after I hung up was heavier than I expected. I sat there for a long time, just staring at my phone, half expecting it to ring again. It didn't. A small part of me felt guilty, not because I thought I was wrong, but because I knew how badly this was going to hit her. Mom had never truly had to stand on her own. Even before Dad left, she leaned on him for everything. And after he was gone, that burden fell onto me. Now she had no one. I sighed and rubbed my face, exhaustion setting in. It had only been a week since I left, but I already felt like a different person. No more random people in my space. No more food disappearing. No more coming home to strangers parked on my damn couch. And for the first time in years, I actually had money left over at the end of the month. Still, it was weird, not worrying about the house, about the bills, about whether Mom and Tessa had everything they needed. Tessa was with me now, thankfully. The second she saw which way the wind was blowing, she packed her things and asked if she could move in. I didn't hesitate. My apartment wasn't huge, but it was clean, peaceful. I came home from work, cooked a meal without worrying if someone had eaten my groceries, and then I just existed. It was almost unsettling. I wasn't used to things being this easy. Tessa walked into the living room, holding her laptop. Was that Mom? I sighed, leaning back against the couch. Yeah. She flopped down next to me, tucking her legs under herself. Bad. I let out a humorless laugh. The house is trashed. Denise took off. Kyle stole her car, and Chase is missing. Tessa snorted. Didn't see that coming. I shot her a look, and she just smirked. I mean, seriously, she continued. Who could have predicted that the woman who spent the last decade mooching off people would mooch off Mom, and then disappear when things got rough? I sighed. She's freaking out. She doesn't have the money to cover the mortgage this month. Tessa gave me a sharp look. You're not thinking about helping her, are you? I hesitated. Because, yeah, a small part of me had considered it. Not because I wanted to, but because that's just what I did. When things went wrong, I was the one who fixed them. Tessa saw the hesitation and smacked my arm. Oh, HLL no. Warren, do not go back there and clean up her mess. She made her bed. Now she has to lie in it. I groaned. I know, Tess. I'm not going back. I told her she's on her own. She studied me for a moment, then nodded, satisfied. Good. Because I love Mom, I do. But she's never going to learn if you keep bailing her out. I rubbed my temple. Yeah. but it's still hard. Tessa softened. I get it. And she did. She might have been younger, but she'd seen the same things I had. She'd watched me come home after work, exhausted, and still handle everything. She'd seen Mom roll her eyes every time I tried to set boundaries. Tessa had lived in that house too. She knew how bad it had gotten. She reached over and nudged my shoulder. You did the right thing, Warren. I let out a breath. I know, but part of me also knew this wasn't over yet. I thought that after hanging up on Mom, she'd take the hint. That she'd finally realize I wasn't coming back to fix her mess this time. I was wrong. Over the next week, she called me 14 times. At first, I ignored her. Let every call go straight to voicemail, refusing to let her drag me back into that pit. But she was persistent. Eventually, curiosity got the better of me, and I played one of her messages. Warren, please. I don't know what to do. The bank keeps calling about the mortgage, and I don't have enough to cover it. I thought Denise was going to help me, but she's gone. I don't even have a car anymore. Just call me back, okay? Please. I deleted the message. Then another came in. Warren, it's me again. Can you just stop being mad for 1 second? I know I messed up. I get it, okay? But I'm drowning here. Just help me figure this out. Delete. And another. Fine. You want me to admit it? You were right. Is that what you want? I screwed up, okay? I let the wrong people in. But you can't just sit there and watch me lose everything. I tossed my phone onto the couch and rubbed my hands down my face. I could already guess what was happening. Mom had lived under the illusion that I was the safety net, that I'd always be there to catch her when she fell. And now that I wasn't, she was panicking. I didn't feel bad for her. Not really. But I did feel something. Not enough to fix it for her, but enough to see how badly this was breaking her. Tessa walked into the room as I let out a long sigh. She's still calling? She asked, already knowing the answer. Yep. Tessa sat down next to me, pulling her legs up onto the couch. Are you going to answer? I shook my head. Not yet. She nodded, as if she understood. And she did. Because this, letting Mom fall, letting her deal with the consequences for once, was just as hard for me as it was for her. But it had to happen. It was 2 days later when I got a call from an unknown number. I wouldn't have answered it, but work had been expecting an update from one of our suppliers, and I figured it might be important. It wasn't. Warren. I froze. I knew that voice. It was Kyle. What the HLL do you want? I snapped, instantly on edge. Whoa, man, chill. Kyle said, his tone infuriatingly casual. Look, your mom gave me your number. She said you're being kinda stubborn about the whole house situation. I clenched my jaw. Are you serious right now? Yeah, I get it, he said, like this was just some minor misunderstanding. Things got a little crazy, but she's really struggling, man. And, you're her son. I think you should step up. I almost threw my phone. Step up? I've been stepping up since I was a teenager. Meanwhile, you stole her damn car. Where the HLL are you? Kyle chuckled, as if this was funny to him. Look, man, I had to get out of there. But I'm just saying, maybe you should help her out. She's got what? A couple weeks before the bank comes knocking. I could feel my pulse hammering in my temples. Why do you even care? Hey, I'm just looking out for her. Bullcrap. Kyle sighed. All right, fine. I might have been staying there, too. And if she loses the house, well, that kinda screws me over, doesn't it? I laughed. A bitter, humorless sound. So that's what this is, I said. You don't give a damn about my mom. You just don't want to lose your free ride. Kyle didn't deny it. I took a deep breath, forcing my voice to stay calm. Lose my number, Kyle. And while you're at it, give Mom her car back. Can't, he said easily. Already sold it. I hung up before I could say something I'd regret. Then I picked up my phone, went to my contacts, and blocked Mom's number. After I blocked Mom's number, things were quiet for a while. Too quiet. At first, I thought maybe she'd finally accepted reality, that she was done trying to drag me back into her mess. But deep down, I knew better. Sure enough, a week later, Tessa came home with a look on her face that told me I wasn't actually free yet. You're not gonna like this, she said, dropping her backpack on the kitchen counter. I exhaled through my nose. What now? She pulled out her phone and slid it across the counter. Mom posted this an hour ago. I picked it up, already bracing myself for the worst. It was a long, rambling Facebook post. The kind that was obviously meant to be vague, but still threw just enough shade to make sure people knew who it was about. Sometimes the people you love the most turn out to be the most selfish. After everything I've done, I never thought my own son would turn his back on me. But I guess money is more important than family to some people. It's fine. God sees everything. Karma will take care of it. I let out a bitter laugh and tossed the phone back to Tessa. Unbelievable. She rolled her eyes. Right? I mean, she really thinks she's the victim here. I shook my head. Let her talk. I don't care. And for the most part, I didn't. Until I got a call from my Aunt Melissa. She wasn't someone I spoke to often. She lived a few states away and had her own life, but she was Mom's older sister, and she didn't take crap from anyone. So when she called me that night, I had a feeling it wasn't just to catch up. I answered, and before I could even say hello, she jumped in. Warren, what the HLL is going on with your mother? I sighed. Depends on what she told you. She told me you abandoned her, Melissa said bluntly. That she's about to lose the house, that she's starving, and that you just up and left her to rot. I snorted. Did she mention the part where she invited 3 freeloaders to live there? Or the part where I was the one paying for everything up until a few weeks ago? Silence. Then Melissa sighed. Jesus. I knew she was bad, but I didn't think she'd let it get this bad. I rubbed my temples. She didn't just let it happen. She chose this. I tried to warn her. She didn't listen. Melissa was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, all right. She wants to play STPID games? Let's make sure she wins the prize. I wasn't sure exactly what Melissa meant by that. But a few days later, I found out. Turns out, Melissa had connections. She called the bank and found out exactly how far behind Mom was on the mortgage. Spoiler alert, she was screwed. The bank had already started the foreclosure process, and unless she came up with several $1,000s immediately, the house was gone. And she didn't have it. Melissa also had a friend at the local police department. She gave them a heads up about Kyle stealing the car. And just like that, there was a warrant out for his arrest. The best part? The car was found. He had sold it to some shady used car lot. But since the title was still in Mom's name, the cops were able to seize it. Then came the real kicker. Melissa called Mom directly. She didn't scream, didn't argue, just calmly laid out the facts. The house, gone. The car, seized by the cops. Kyle, going to jail. And Warren, not lifting a damn finger to help. Mom apparently lost her mind. She called me from a new number, sobbing. Warren, please. I don't know what to do. The bank is taking the house. Where am I supposed to go? I made a mistake, okay? I should have listened to you. Just tell me what to do. I took a deep breath, closed my eyes, and finally said the words I should have said years ago. Figure it out, Mom. And then I hung up. The house was foreclosed within a month. Mom had no choice but to move into a tiny apartment that she had to pay for herself. No more free rides. No more expecting someone else to pick up the slack. Denise? Vanished. Probably mooching off some other poor soul. Chase? Arrested. Turns out, stealing from neighbors isn't a great long-term strategy. Kyle? Also arrested. I smiled when I saw his mugshot in the county records. And me? I was finally free. For the first time in my life, I didn't owe anyone anything. I could live for myself, without guilt, without obligation. And as for Karma, I think she did just fine.